Breaking news, another buyout player signs with a team. It's Cam Thomas this time, a guy a lot of fans were interested in bringing to their clubs. He's going to the Milwaukee Bucks. What does this mean for the Bucks? What does it mean for the buyout market in general? Did anybody miss the boat on Cam Thomas? We'll talk a bit about that. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Donnie Freeman joining. Donnie, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Hopefully everyone is doing pretty good. And let us know in the comments who you're rooting for the Super Bowl.
That's right. That's right. We got the Super Bowl coming up in just a short time here. What, about an hour or so till the Super Bowl? I can't wait for that. But Shams Charania reported Cam Thomas has agreed to a deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. His agent, Tony Ronzoni of Wasserman, I hope I'm saying the last name right there, tells ESPN, Thomas, 24, and this is how you know it came from an agent. Check this out. Thomas, 24 years old, averaged 21.4 points per game over the last 3 seasons with the Nets. That's weird, Donnie. Why didn't Shams say what he's averaging this season? Oh, because he's only averaging 15.6 points per game. Why didn't he say what he's averaging for his career? Oh, because he's only averaging 15.2 points. But if we look at the last 3 years combined, that is the most favorable way to look at what Cam Thomas has been doing. And so if you say the last 3 years combined, it sounds like the Bucks just picked up a more than 20 point per game score, which he may be in Milwaukee, but just always funny the way you can kind of stretch the numbers a little bit or at least cherry pick the numbers to make them sound as positive as you can when you're trying to keep an agent happy.
Yeah, we see that all the time, don't we?
We absolutely do. But regardless, he's not incorrect. Cam Thomas, a phenomenal off-the-bench scorer, not always the most efficient guy out there on the court. Only 40%. We're rounding up a little bit to get there from the field this season for the Nets. 32.5% from three. But the Bucks, now maybe the Bucks aren't that much better than the Nets, if at all, with Giannis out. Mm-hmm. But the Bucks with Giannis back would project to be a significantly better team. So, Donnie, I do have some optimism that Cam Thomas in Milwaukee, these numbers in terms of the efficiency, they're going to go up because I think he's going to get better quality looks.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely going to wind up happening there. Really, what I'm interested about with Cam is what this means for him and what it means for the Bucks long term.
Yeah, Cam Thomas is going to be a free agent this summer. Mm-hmm. So he was on that deal, the qualifying offer that he picked up with the Nets, wasn't able to come to terms on a long-term deal. Remember the reports that he wanted some like north 35. Of 30 million or something?
Yeah.
Because he's been trying to prove that he's not a super sub sixth-man scorer off the bench and that he is a 24 point per game guy and therefore should be paid as such, that he's a starter, a starting two that could put up 24 plus points per game, and therefore he should get paid like one of those guys. I think most of the league sees him as a super sub. The Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford archetype is what people think of when they look at Cam Thomas, just in terms of being a high volume scorer that could come in and give you 15 points in a quick burst or something like that. Donnie, I know that's been his goal, is to prove that he's a starter. I don't think he's done that. So I think the task for Cam Thomas is, number one, with the Bucks, are the minutes there, and can he continue to try to show that he can do more than just score the basketball?
Yeah, I think that when they brought him in, there was probably an understanding of the amount of minutes and role that he would have, because at the end of the day, whether he is going to prove that he's a starter and that he's worth $30 million or whatever it is, he needs the opportunity. Right. He needs to go there and show what he can do in whatever time is available for him, which is why I was kind of wary of him joining a lot of different teams, because it could go one or two different ways for a guy like him, where maybe he shows up and is playing, basketball for himself for his contract, which is understandable, of course. Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to add him to a team that's trying to win now, that has potential to be a detriment to your overall goal. But for this team, I do like him on the short term. I do think he's going to get a lot of opportunity there. And if he shows that he can be a good piece for them going forward, they have another guard that can create offense and would fit well alongside Giannis if they do have long-term goals of keeping on and hanging on to Cam Thomas here. I wonder if this is, for example, something that they're trying to try out. If it works out, they want to try to build a team around Giannis again. That's something that's out there. So maybe he's a piece to that.
You think this could be like a long-term, they keep him in free agency, perhaps?
Yeah, if he shows up and plays pretty good, I'm sure they'd be willing to keep him.
Yeah,
I just wonder at what number though. That's the thing, you know.
That's the question. Is he being realistic about what his actual value is? That's the concern with that, just because of what happened in the past. But the Bucks certainly could use his scoring. The Bucks have not had Giannis over the last 6 games. They are 19th in the NBA in points per game during that stretch. If you go back even 15 games, they're even lower in points. So even when they had Giannis, they were still struggling to score the basketball. And if there is one thing that Cam Thomas can do, it is fill it up. He can put the ball in the basket. Again, 19th in the NBA in scoring. He's going to get shots up, and sometimes he's on a heater. He's capable of dropping 40. He's done it before. He can drop 40 in a game if he's on a heater. He can also shoot you out of games. But if you're the Bucks right now, why not roll the dice, considering where you're at? If we take a peek at the standings, for the Milwaukee Bucks, who, by the way, just barely beat the Indiana Pacers in their most recent outing, and the Pacers very much in clear tank mode, their first-round pick could be on the way out the door if they don't win effectively a coin flip percentage-wise. But we look where the Bucks are sitting. They are a half a game or a game and a half back of the Chicago Bulls for the 11 seed, while being 2.5 games back of the 10 seed against a Charlotte Hornets side. Look at the Hornets, Donnie. 9-game winning streak. They are on fire. The Hornets have been playing some wonderful basketball, but the Bucks are going to need to find somebody who can hold them, keep them afloat while Giannis is out if they want to try to make the play-in. And maybe Cam Thomas can do that if he can go back to averaging 20 points a night.
Yeah, that could be a thing. Quick note on the East. A lot of these teams are performing really well in their last 10. Like the East has been killing it in this last stretch here. And to the point where these teams are winning, but they're not shifting much in their standings. It's pretty interesting to see. Cam can light it up. He's always such an enigma to me, though, because he is able to do that, but he mostly gives a lot of it right back on the other side. So I think you need, and I'm not even kidding, when you look at his on-off, all that stuff, he's mostly like a neutral player because he's so good on offense, but so bad on defense. But yeah, I think that for this team, they want to continue to lose so they can get the best pick possible, but it's all about evaluation as well of talent, right? Which guys are they going to hold on to? And they've already got a few guys that fit a similar build to him. He may be the best pure scorer among them, but they got like AJ Green, they've got Rollins, they've got Porter, who's been in and out, but I believe he's healthy now. So they've got a lot of different combo guards on this roster that they're playing and trying out to see if these guys can be the long-term fits for them. And I think that's where there's some competition and where it could get a little bit tricky for Cam. And if he doesn't want to wind up being a bench guard, that is, he'll have to prove that he's better than those other guys and is worthy of being slotted ahead of them going forward. But on a reasonable number, I think having, 3 or 4 of those guys, actually all 4, I think I listed 4, having at least 3 of those guys I listed, you've got a really good backcourt core if you're the Bucks next year. And if, you get some positive regression from Miles, a healthy Giannis, a high draft pick, maybe you get somebody else, I could see where they are optimistic that they could put a team together around Giannis.
And maybe keep Cam Thomas long-term and try to convince, if they say, look, Giannis, we got a guy that could score 20-plus points per game, that could be a nice thing to try to tell Giannis, hey, this is a reason why you should stick in there. But let's take a look at how the Bucks could potentially keep Cam Thomas long-term. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But first, quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Sleeper. If you guys haven't checked out Sleeper, they've got a new feature, and that is Team Picks. And we've got the Super Bowl just over an hour away. If you guys can check it out, you can pick what team you think is going to win. I've got the Seahawks. Donnie, who do you think is going to win?
I agree.
You agree? Going with Seahawks as well. It's not in my DNA to vote for a Boston team. That's just what it is. But yeah, well, it is what it is. You can get a $100 deposit match up to $100 when you use our code Bulletin over on Sleeper. You can use their Team Picks feature, which is absolutely fantastic. We put them up on the TV here. You guys can see the Team Pick function there on Sleeper. Very, very easy to use, the Sleeper app. Just click the link in the description down below. And once again, you get a $100 deposit match up to $100. That's free play money right there over on Sleeper. Just use that code Bulletin. That way they know that you came from us. So go check out Sleeper. Enjoy the Super Bowl today. All right, let's talk about whether or not the Bucks can keep Cam Thomas long-term. Can he be a long-term fit there? What's the cap situation look like? over in Milwaukee. So take a peek at this right now. The Milwaukee Bucks, as they currently stand. Now, this could obviously change quite a bit for next season should Giannis Antetokounmpo wind up getting moved over the summer. Oh boy, Donnie, we get to talk about Giannis trades for another summer. But right now, taking a look at their room, they're not necessarily going to be a cap space team. Some of it's going to depend on what happens with some of their cap holds.
Yeah,
their active cap would suggest they'd have just a little bit of wiggle room in cap space. My guess is they would stay at above the cap team and then perhaps use something like the mid-level exception to go keep a player like Cam Thomas. Could be just a portion of that. Will Cam Thomas take that, or does he want 30 plus million? If he wants 30 plus million, well, he's probably not. Let's be honest, he's probably not in the NBA next season if he will only sign for north of $30 million. But
yeah,
plenty of flexibility below the first apron. So this is part of what guys are looking for when they are signing buyout market deals. They want to sign with a team that, number one, gives them minutes. That's the most important thing, because they have to be able to prove what they deserve on their next contract. So buyout market players are looking for minutes. They ideally would like a chance to win, particularly if they're veteran players. Now, that Cam Thomas is just 24, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. But also, number three, that there's a path potentially to a long-term role with the team. And when we look at the finances of the Bucks, it may not be for the dollar amount that Cam Thomas wants. And who knows what type of turnover there is should Giannis be traded. That could significantly change their financial outlook. But even if Giannis is not traded, there is a path to, at the very least, mid-level exception money. So if things work out great with the Bucks from here on out, there is a way for Cam Thomas to ultimately stay there. And that final piece, Donnie, I'm sure was an important one in Cam Thomas's decision on where to sign.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure they had a conversation about his role and all that stuff when they ultimately decided to wind up going there, right? So I think that he'll get ample opportunity, especially as they're trying to tank. Cam has shown that he can look good on a team that's trying to tank, regardless, before in the last couple of years. So I do think that'll wind up working out for them. And if he's willing to play ball with the salary he takes, then that's fair game. And I think that he should be a long-term piece for them. But I do think that this team, they're just so far away still regardless. Like, he's not a big enough needle mover.
No.
And so what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to find other ways to improve this team and maybe get off of some of the guys that they have. Maybe you sell Portis High. Maybe you can get somebody to take him if you attach him to Kuzma, for example. But I think they need to make some decisions on this roster. Doesn't help that they're hamstrung by $25 million yearly.
What, you mean the $23.5 million in debt, or sorry, $22.5 million in dead money sitting on their books called Damian Lillard?
Yeah, that does not help. That really hurts.
By the way, Damian Lillard is shooting in the three-point shootout this year. He is not playing this season with a torn Achilles. He is going to participate in the three-point shootout at All-Star Weekend. Donnie, that's fun. That's fun. And all we can think about while he's shooting is how many millions of dollars every made three costs the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll have to break that down. We'll have to do the math on it.
Yeah, I think it's weird because I've never seen that before. Maybe it happens more than we talk about, but maybe I've seen it. I just didn't.
Well, Magic came back and played in the All-Star game after he retired. Okay. But it is rare, for a player who's not physically able to play in an NBA game right now to participate in an NBA competition at All-Star Weekend. Yeah, that's got to be a very rare thing.
So does he just from here continue playing, or?
No, I mean, I would assume he can take standstill jumpers, but not actually run and cut and that type of thing now. But, it'll be nice to, who knows? I think now the most fun outcome would be Dame winning the three-point shootout.
For the third time?
Yeah. That would just be a blast though. Like, the guy's not even playing in the NBA this season. I mean, he's on a team, but he's not played. That would just be a lot of fun. Also, if you are a shooter in the NBA right now, do you feel disrespected by a dude who literally has played 0 minutes this year, gets a spot in the three-point shootout, and you don't?
Maybe. You could feel some kind of way. But hey, there's some seniority there. Again, he's a two-time champion. Everyone knows who Dame is. He can shoot the hell out of the ball. So you can't really feel too mad or bad about that. It's freaking Dame, right?
So to get back to Cam Thomas here, he does have a quote that just came out from Mark Spears on why he signed with the Bucks. This is what Cam Thomas had to say. I picked Milwaukee because they wanted me. They told me they've been interested for years now. So it's good to have this opportunity to come to fruition. And I'm just hoping to meet everybody, get to know everybody, and contribute as soon as possible. So Cam Thomas feels very, very wanted by the Milwaukee Bucks. And
it's kind of hard for him to feel wanted by a certain big market team that used their roster spot on another guard.
On Kobe Buffkin. Now, that was just last night.
Yeah.
It's very plausible that the Lakers already knew that Cam Thomas was going to the Bucks before they gave Kobe Buffkin that deal. Because Rob Pelinka was talking about that. Was talking about, we're going to sign somebody on the buyout market, or maybe a G League player bump up or whatever, or a two-way player bump up. And then like an hour later, 2 hours later, Kobe Buffkin suddenly has the 15th roster spot. I wonder if they heard something, and it could be the same with Haywood Highsmith as well. Maybe they already know where those guys are going.
Well, I'll take it a step further. I almost think those spots were that spot was promised to Buffkin, because they offered him that 10-day and still were able to keep him in their organization. He was with South Bay, almost like he was in waiting until
he dropped 40 points multiple times too.
Yeah, he's got like 3 or 4 or 5, something like that, 35 plus games already. Yeah, it's almost like he was in waiting, and then once enough time had passed, the deadline passed, they were like, okay, let's do it. I think that spot was already earmarked for him.
So you think they promised him, and that was what prevented him from going and signing with another club? Because he could have signed somewhere else.
He wasn't under contract at all. And we saw him do that several times this year. He kept bouncing around. So I think that was already predetermined that he was going to get that last spot.
Interesting idea. As long as the Lakers didn't use their open roster spot in a trade, which he by waiting, he gave them the flexibility to potentially use that open roster spot if they needed to.
Yeah, I think that's interesting what happened there. So I don't really, but for Cam, yeah, that's cool. Like I said, I do think he could be a piece for them. I just think that to be honest, he may be a bit superfluous. They've got several guys, like I mentioned earlier, that are playing in that combo guard role for them.
True.
And doing different things. But maybe he is better than one of those guys and can be a long-term piece as a starter, ideally for him to get the money he wants, but at the bare minimum as a sixth guy, and I know that's not exactly what he wants, but maybe you could sell him on a team with Giannis that's trying to be competitive.
I also think, the final piece to this, should the Bucks have signed anybody?
Just period?
Should they just tank?
Well, you can take with Cam, like I was saying. It's not like
he can shoot you out of games.
Hey, man, I'm not trying to
fire away, Cam.
I'm not trying to be critical, but like seriously, it's not like he's stopping anything from happening.
I mean, they're in striking. Now the Mavs and the Grizz have no reason to win games right now, but they're in striking distance of going down to the 7th best lottery odds. I mean, I guess the odds are more flattened, so who cares? But
you know what they need?
What?
They need to take a page out of the Jazz playbook.
Oh,
that's what they need. And if they take a page out of the Jazz playbook, they're fine. It doesn't matter.
Lowry Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr., fine game. Take a seat for the fourth quarter. Let's fire up the tank and make sure we lose this game.
We need to have Adam Silver like choose a line, man. Like, are you gonna punish teams for tanking or not? Like, what are we doing?
Here's my solution, Donnie. The only pick protections that are allowed are top 4 protections or less.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why that would work is because a top 4 protected pick, you can have the worst record in the NBA, and you still only have a 52% chance at keeping your pick. So that would be enough to be able, because there is a level. The Jazz can tank to a degree that they will know they will keep their pick, right? If they were able to lose enough games and drop far enough. The Washington Wizards, their top 8 protected pick, there is a level where they lose enough games and they know they will keep their pick. Top 4 protection, there is no guarantee at all that you're keeping that pick. In fact, that's the Detroit Pistons. They've had the worst record in the NBA and then wound up picking 5th. So there's no guarantee that you get to keep your pick if it is top 4 protected. So if you want to stop teams from tanking so egregiously because they know it's done to secure their draft pick, make picks only be allowed to be top 4 protected.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the Jazz literally succumb to that last year where they tried tanking and got the best odds and wound up 5th.
Yep.
Like, stuff happens. So
stuff happens. Wild things happen. Like a 2-point-something% chance or whatever.
Nope, not doing that again.
For the Mavs. No, sorry. Is it 1.8%?
It was lower than that. I think it was lower than that. Yeah.
Was it? Good Lord.
Yeah, that's still Chicago's pick, by the way.
It was Nico's vision, though. It was Nico's vision.
Yeah, but the Bucks can absolutely tank though. Like all you have to do is whoever's hot, pull them. Just end of the game. I mean,
You're playing too well. Come have a seat.
I'm not a fan of it, but if that's what they're doing, everything's fair game, right? Like if the Jazz literally can say, we got 2 guys killing it, and then Nurkic over there with like a dozen rebounds, we're just going to sit all of them for the fourth quarter, so we lose by 3. Like they just gave that game away.
Yeah.
So if teams are doing that, then I think that's fair game. But I do want to have something established because I don't think in general we should be doing that. It completely flies in the face of competitiveness, especially when you're winning the damn game and you're likely to win the game.
You're upset about it when it's not your team doing it. If it's your team doing it, you're going, hell yeah.
Yeah, because you're trying to get that pick. So the fans are they're aligned with it. They understand.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
The outside, as a whole, right? I just don't love it. But
conceptually for the league. Yeah, I get it. All right, everybody, give us your thoughts. Cam Thomas, now a Milwaukee Buck. Is this a good move for the Bucks? Give us your thoughts in the comments down below. And let us know your thoughts on the tanking situation too. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Until next time, see ya, and stay safe.